The St. Louis Cardinals made 3 deals at the trade deadline and turned them into 6 brand new prospects for the organization. We're going to discuss those moves and what's in store for the Cardinals moving forward on today's episode of Locked On Cardinals.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I'm JD Hafford, and I'm your host for Locked On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, covering your team every day. Give me a follow on X at JD Sports Radio. The podcast also available on X at LO_Cardinals. You can find us on YouTube, also TikTok, Instagram at Locked On Cardinals. This is a show serving Cardinal Nation and giving the best fans of baseball all of the info about the birds on the bat. Today's episode brought to you by 5-Hour Energy Transfusion. Go to 5hourenergy.com today and use my promo code, which is Locked On Golf, to receive 20% off your order. Only valid through September 30th. Order transfusion flavored 5-Hour Energy shots today. All right, our good buddy Thomas Gauvain from redbirdrant.com squeezing us in here today to basically sift through the chaos that was the MLB trade deadline. Pretty wild time. It was an exciting trade deadline, not exactly for the Cardinals, but for Major League Baseball in general. A lot of big names on the move. A lot of crazy deals went down. My first thoughts, though, that when watching things unfold the last couple days, particularly on Thursday when all hell was breaking loose before the deadline, was God. I miss the days where it was the Cardinals looking to improve their team for the playoff run and not basically be the carcass that all the other teams were pecking at, trying to go win a title with whatever meat we had left on our bones. It was a bummer. Did you feel the same way, or were you glad that the Cardinals were doing what they were doing?
Yeah, it's never fun to be the team that's selling. I guess we are. It's good that we're not the Minnesota Twins. They got gutted, I'm pretty sure. I don't know who's left for them. It's tough. I mean, you always look at the Cardinals as a team that should be contending, that should be in the hunt in August and September. And to see them selling, it's not exciting, but it's necessary at this point.
I am curious, if say they came out of the gate 5-1 after the All-Star break instead of 1-5, I wonder what exactly they would have done to improve what they have, because it wasn't like there's a lot of wiggle room on that 40-man roster. I just am curious what they would have done and what the plan might have been, but we will never know. But yeah, it's not a lot of fun to be on this side. I almost tweeted that out too, because I was like, at least we're not the Twins where they just blew up the whole roster. Yep. Not that long ago, these guys were a playoff team together, got their first win, the first playoff win together, and then it just is, it's over just like that. So at least we didn't go down that path. But let's start with what the team's going to look like moving forward, Thomas. Then we can get into the prospects that they acquired. Nobody offensively moved off the Cardinals roster, although according to Mo and John Denton's article that he said he got some trade offers on their left-handed hitters, but they weren't motivated to move hitters that they had under control unless they were, to put it mildly, blown away. And he said they just weren't. Were you disappointed at all that none of the lefties like Lars, Nootbaar, Nolan Gorman, Alec Burleson, Brendan Donovan, were you disappointed that none of those guys got moved?
Yeah, maybe a little bit disappointed. I'm not surprised at all. I mean, from the beginning, Mo said it was going to be expiring contracts, maybe someone else if they were blown away, like you just told us. So I'm not overly surprised that nobody was moved. A little bit disappointed, maybe. But I also think that those are tasks for the offseason. I don't suspect that Nootbaar, Gorman, Burleson, Donnie will lose any value over the next 2 months. If anything, they've got value to gain. And so maybe an off-season trade would fit better. There's no timeline. You can work a little bit slower. You can be a little bit more methodical with your approach. Who I was really surprised and wanted to trade was Jojo Romero. With relievers, you never know what they're going to do year over year. His value is probably as high as it could ever be right now with that year and a half of control, an ERA near 2. I think he would have been a really good reliever on the market had he been traded. Not quite to the Joan Duran level, but somewhere between Duran and maybe Ryan Helsley.
Yeah, because he's ever since that first month where he was just kind of trying to figure things out, couldn't get the velo up, and since then he's been one of the best in baseball. His numbers have been sick.
Yeah, he hasn't allowed a run in July. 15 strikeouts. He had a really good month.
Yeah, it's been nice to see him. That brings me to my next question. Really, is like we haven't seen any new transactions just yet as to who is going to come up and fill some of these empty spots on the roster. But I'm looking at it, and JoJo's the only left-hander left standing. We don't have anybody else, which maybe that was part of the issue too. Maybe they did get a call or two on Romero, but they're like we don't have any left-handers. Anybody? Does anybody at triple Memphis? No, nobody's down at Memphis either. He's the only guy left, Thomas, which is a little crazy to think about. That this bullpen, as good as it's been, so many injuries have taken some of these guys out of the equation, and now you're just stuck with JoJo, which makes me wonder who is going to be taking over particular roles on the team moving forward, because you still have to field the baseball team for the St. Louis Cardinals, and certain people are going to shift around probably. Again, the transactions aren't out yet, so we don't know exactly who it is. But if you had to guess, who do you think are going to be the guys that slide into the roles of, closer, taking Helsley's spot, setup man to take Maton's spot, and then, what Steven Matz was doing, where he was essentially the long relief guy?
I'd suspect that JoJo Romero gets the first shot at being closer. Riley O'Brien will get some high leverage stuff in the 8th inning, maybe even spell JoJo in the 9th if he needs a day off. I said this past offseason, and Gordon Graceffo said himself that he would love to be in the bullpen. I think he'd be an excellent high leverage guy. I would suspect that Kyle Leahy fulfills that long relief role that Steven Matz had. Also, he could see himself in the 7th or 8th inning, depending on the matchups. So I'd say between those four, Romero, Graceffo, O'Brien, and Leahy, those would probably be our four main guys in the back of the bullpen, with Romero getting the first shot at closer.
Do you like the idea of stretching out Kyle Leahy? Do you? I'm not opposed to it. I think it's obviously a role that needs to be filled, and ever since the first month and a half, he hasn't really been that great in the small 1 inning type of appearances, and he looked pretty good when he threw those 3 innings the other day. So, are you on board with that?
I think so. I didn't follow him much as a prospect, and I know he got some starts down there in the minor leagues. Yeah. If Sonny Gray being traded this offseason picks up some steam, we literally don't have 5 starting pitchers unless we convert Kyle Leahy to that role. So I think that'd be a nice end of the year transition. Keep ramping him up, give him around that 2 to 3 inning mark, and then get him a good offseason plan as well.
Yeah. And another guy that I'm looking forward to, which I'm anticipating he'll get called up again, is the return of Brian Fernandez, who we all know was just shelled at the beginning of the season. And then he wasn't all that good when he got moved down for a little bit, but has certainly pitched much better over the last month and a half. And so I assume he's going to get another crack at things in St. Louis. So I would anticipate that one. I'm excited to see if Andre Granillo can, carve out a role for this team moving forward. I haven't hated what I've seen from him in the small sample size that he's been up. So, but that's really my big question. It's I don't know who the left-handers are going to be outside of JoJo. Maybe they just won't have any because John King injured, Matt's gone. Cupboard's kind of emptied there. So will be interesting. You know who is available? Rich Hill, baby. Bring in Dick Mountain. Let's see it. Let's see this guy. He's 45.
Give him a 16th team. Why not?
He's got Cardinal written all over him.
Yeah.
Man. I can see it happening. All right, so we're going to talk about the prospects next because the Cardinals ended up flipping those 3 bullpen pieces, turned them into 6 new prospects, and we're going to talk about all of them. 2 of them offensive, 4 of them are pitchers, so we'll get into that coming up next on Locked On Cardinals. Time to fuel up and turn it up with 5-Hour Energy Transfusion. It brings the bold grape, ginger, and lime flavor of your favorite golf drink minus the alcohol into a quick, energizing shot. Now, whether you're sinking birdies or just trying to make some memories with friends, we're not all good on the golf course. I'm right there with you. But this is a hole-in-one for your energy game. And I recently played in this tournament with some friends. It was a charity tournament. I wasn't trying to win anything, although I'm not trying to embarrass myself either. But you know how you get that adrenaline rush when you first get out there on the course and you're all excited, and then you start to realize 18 holes is a long time. That's when you need 5-Hour Energy Transfusion. It's going to give you that extra boost to stay sharp and energize both on the course and, of course, off the course too, whether you're going into the office, whether you're doing things around the house. Maybe you got a big night ahead of you. You just need that extra to keep things going. The grape ginger lime flavor gives you the best parts of your clubhouse go-to without chasing down the bev cart. If you go to 5hourenergy.com today, that's the number 5, hourenergy.com. You can use my promo code LockedOnGolf to receive 20% off your order. The offer is only valid until September 30th on one order and cannot be used with promotions. The code is not good on subscription orders. Whether you're meeting up with your friends or trying to turn 18 into 36, the energizing boost you need to power through is available. Order transfusion flavored 5-hour energy shots today. Thanks again for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. Leave your comments on YouTube, X, TikTok, anytime you want. Feedback always welcome and encouraged. Thomas Gauvain from redbirds.com joining us here today. Be sure to give him a follow at Thomas Gauvain on X as well. More than happy to have conversations with you on there. The Cardinals sent Ryan Helsley to the New York Mets. This was the big trade that everybody anticipated. We all thought that was going to be the one guy that brought in the biggest haul. They got infield prospect Jesus Baez, right-handed pitcher Nate Dome, and right-handed pitcher Frank Elisalt in return for this. I want to talk about Baez first, and we're going to start with the offensive guys because I want to get to the Blaze Jordan trade as well with Steven Matz. But let's talk about Baez first. MLB did do a release today of the top 25 prospects that were traded at the deadline. And I don't know if this means much to anybody, but Baez did come in as the 10th best prospect in their opinion that ended up getting traded. So people believe in this guy, and you did a write-up about him when the deal went down. So you kind of have the background and the scoop on what went down with Jesus Baez, who he is, what he has. You did that at redbirds.com. Make sure you guys check that out. But what can you tell the listeners what you learned about the new Cardinal infielder, Jesus?
Yeah, Kylie McDaniel over on ESPN also did a write-up. He called himself crazy by writing about every prospect that was traded, 97 of them. He had Jesus Baez as his 4th best prospect. So that's a little bit reassuring as well. Yeah, he's a power first, bat control type of guy, a little bit undersized, 5'10", 180 pounds. He profiles as a third baseman if his arm can keep up over there. Otherwise, second base. It's interesting. He's got high exit velocities. He doesn't chase too much unless it's out of the zone, really. But good power potential. He should be an interesting corner infield second baseman prospect. He's only 20, so I wouldn't expect to see him for another 2, 3, 4 years at least.
And it was last year that people he really popped and came off the page for people where they were like, whoa, this guy has got a little something. And then unfortunately he had a knee injury. And, people will just look, because a lot of people will just look at what his stats are on the back of the baseball card and go, well, this isn't all that great. But that's the thing, is he got hurt last year, right when he got promoted. What do you have, 8 games or something like that at the next level after he got called, got promoted up. And so he's rehabbing from that too. He's coming back from a knee injury and stuff as well. And you're still seeing a lot of promise there. A ball player. So he's 20 years old, as you mentioned. So certainly somebody who's geared towards the future. It's not somebody we're going to see anytime soon, but the scouting grades on him from MLB: hit tool 50, power 60, which you love to see, running 40, arm 60, fielding 50. Overall, they gave him a 50. So it's somebody that, obviously some people are excited about him outside of the Cardinals organization and people who talk about the Cardinals, because we can always spin things and be like, well, yeah, he's real good. Look at this. And don't pay attention to this. But to see that national guys are also showing some love, like, this kid's got a future, if things go the right way and he continues to progress the way he is, that there's some potential there. Let's stick with those offensive players. Let's go to Blaze Jordan. Easily I have to say, got to be the best name that got traded at the deadline.
Oh, yeah.
As far as it's just coolness of it all. He sounds like a comic book character. The Steven Matz deal goes to the Boston Red Sox in exchange for Blaze Jordan. Has been at the minor leagues 2 levels this year. Was a AA, AAA. Hitting a combined 308, 12 home runs, 62 ribbies, 22 doubles, and an OPS of 872. Your thoughts on the return of Blaze Jordan, somebody that obviously we've been talking about it. We've heard other people talk about him for a while, that it's somebody the Cardinals probably are interested in. Now he's finally in the organization. Your thoughts on that return for Steven Matz?
Well, we can now have a triple bobblehead giveaway where it's Mason Blaze, Jordan Walker. And we got Mason Molina, Blaze, Jordan Walker. Yeah, so there's some marketing that the Cardinals could do there.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, why not? He's definitely power first. The Cardinals have been eyeing him since the 2020 draft. He comes from Boston, where Chaim Bloom is very familiar with him there. It's a pretty obvious trade piece. I think his ceiling's a little bit higher than what other people might think. He's got a lot of power potential there. You mentioned his OPS is in the upper 800s. He's got some serious pop. He's definitely a corner infielder. If his arm can play up, he can be at third base pretty well. Otherwise, he profiles best as a first baseman. It's kind of like one of those exciting prospects that you just trade a 34-year-old rental reliever for. It's a lottery ticket. You can dream on it. If he falls flat, whatever, you traded 2 months of Steven Matz for it.
Yeah, and to get somebody who slid, I think number 17, I think, in MLB pipeline for the Cardinals now, to get that in return for Matz, who's been an injury-prone long reliever, mid-30s, like you said. I mean, I don't think that's so bad, to get a shot like that. And he's somebody that, out of all the guys that got traded to the Cardinals, he's like the closest to making any sort of impact at the major league level, because everybody else is A-ball guys for the most part. And you got Blaze, who's he's got an interesting personality and stuff, if you've ever seen interviews with him. And he just seems like a guy that he's a masher, especially against left-handers. I did see the numbers there were pretty good, and we know the Cardinals have some trouble hitting the left-handed pitching. So to get somebody like that, it's nice. And I know that, like, people want the power to be better than what it was, but I'm of the guy that just, like, I'm excited to, you see the doubles and you see the 308 batting average. Like, that excites me. I would rather see that than 230 and 25 home runs right now. I would rather see the more well-rounded batter, which is what he's really become so far in the minor leagues, as opposed to just swinging for the fences every time.
Yeah, and I think this might be the theme for a lot of these prospects we traded. It allows us to clear out some of the guys that we've seen in the system for 4 or 5 years. I mean, look at Luke and Baker. They profile pretty similarly. Bat first, corner infielder, first baseman. We know what Luke and Baker is at this point. He's not going to get time in the majors. You can kind of trim that fat, so to speak, and then get these new prospects in who are a little bit unknown and have ceilings that might be higher.
Yeah, I agree. It's time for some new blood. We've been
exactly
kind of churning through the same dudes for the last 3 years, and it hasn't worked. It's not like they didn't give ample opportunities to some of these guys, and it just didn't work. So you have to move on eventually, and it's nice to see some new faces in the organization. MLB pipeline scouting grades for Blaze Jordan: 50 on the hit tool, 50 power, 30 running, which is funny because his name is Blaze. Arm 50, fielding 40. Overall, he's a 40, but he's exactly what he said. Hit first kind of guy. Then you try to find a place for him, whether it's DH, first base is probably the best spots for him. We got Nate Dome, 22 years old. We'll start with the pitchers here. 6'4", 210 out of Indiana. Third-round pick, 2024 out of Mississippi State. Scouting grades: fastball 55, curveball 50, slider 55, changeup 40, control 55. Overall, they give him a 45, which mathematically makes no sense when everything else is in 50s. So far this year, at 2 A-ball stops, he's combined 3 and 5, 2.87 ERA, 77 whiffs, and 62 2/3 innings. So that's an 11.3 strikeouts per 9. And then this is just part of the Mets trade here. And then the second pitcher, Frank Elisalt, who was not ranked in the Mets top 30, and he's currently not ranked in the Cardinals top 30 either, but 6'2", 210, 23 years old, A-ball as well, 4-5 record, ERA 3.04, 65 Ks and 56 1/3 innings. Opponent's only hitting 180 against him, and his whip's under 1, which tells me that at least he's around the zone, which is always good because we know how annoying walks are. But your thoughts on those other two pieces that came along with Jesus Baez in the trade for Ryan Helsley from the Mets?
Yeah, the Cardinals targeted something very specific between the draft and then these trades here with the prospects, and it's lively fastballs. Both of those pitchers have it. Nate Dome, you said he has the 55 value fastball. It can touch 99. It sits in the mid 90s. It's pretty lively, and it plays off really well with his mid 80s sweeping slider that he's got as well. The same can be said of Elisalt. There's not too much out there of him. He's not even ranked in our top 30. He wasn't in the Mets top 30, but he also has a fastball that can touch 98, 99. It's got a lot of movement on it. Good release point as well. I think Elisalt profiles more as a relief pitcher. Dome could be a starting pitcher. They will both also be a couple years away as well, though.
Yeah, 22 and 23 years old, I believe, is what their ages are. So, and I know that part of the thing is that people are going to be like, well, what about the team now? And this is obviously the deals that they have made here. They are not geared for this year, not next year either. We're talking 2 years down the road at minimum. So just keep that in mind with this, that this was not done to turn this around for next season by any means, but it does. It's what I call replenishing was the word I used to replenish what they're missing in the organization right now as far as prospects go. Well, yesterday was Phil Maton just sitting around, just waiting, waiting. Because we're all like, wait a second, did we forget about him? Because I know they left him in St. Louis when they all went to San Diego because they anticipated trade. Finally, they pulled one off at the just right before the buzzer, really. So, and Mo likes to do that for whatever reason. And yep, he traded for another Molina. We're going to talk about the return for Phil Maton and much, much more coming up on Locked On Cardinals. Today's episode brought to you by Game Day Hue, and so is this particular. Hold on, I gotta get it up here for you guys. Look at this hat. It's got the cool little stripe in the back. Obviously, the colors, red and white, going with what the St. Louis Cardinals have. And you can get them in the other colors, too. You go the navy blue if you wanted to. You want to go navy blue and white, you can do that, too. For Cardinals fans like me, this hits the mark. I love these type of things for the golf course. You know, Game Day Hue makes the clean, no logo gear, team-inspired colorways for every pro and college fan base. So say you're a Mizzou fan, you're a Fighting Illini fan, they've got all of the different mixes and colors for you. And no giant logos, just smart, versatile style that works on game day. And, of course, on the golf course, which is where I like to wear these things because they're light, they're comfortable, keep me cool during these hot summers that hit the Midwest, specifically in St. Louis. Obviously, everybody's so miserable coming to St. Louis right now. And if you're going to be out on the golf course wearing stuff, why not one of the split shade gloves as well for the course? Perfect gifts for birthdays, Father's Day, the winter holidays, which will be here before you know it. And right now you can get 15% off with code MLB15 at GameDayHue.com. That's GameDayHue.com. The code even stacks on bundle deals. So now's the time to load up. Let your colors talk because colors speak louder than words. That's GameDayHue.com, code MLB15. Thanks again for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen today. For your second listen, be sure to check out the new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale. You can find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB's YouTube channel or wherever you listen to podcasts. Thomas Gauvain from RedbirdRants.com, kind enough to join us here today. Phil Maton was the last to go just before the deadline yesterday. It took a while. People started to freak out a little bit because they were like, dude, bro, he's not going to screw this up, right? Or he doesn't get traded at all. Somebody wants Phil Maton, don't they? And eventually the deal did come down with the Texas Rangers, 2 pitching prospects and some international bonus pool money, which is always nice. But the names that came over, obviously the first one that stands out to everybody is going to be the name Molina. Hilarious in my eyes. I even texted you that yesterday. I was like, hilarious that Mo, in his final transaction at a trade deadline as the president of baseball operations at GM for the Cardinals, trades for a Molina. That's what he did. And apparently he wore 41 in the minor leagues too, which is Yachty's old number too. Like, it's unbelievable. And I wonder if they've been holding that in their back pocket. They're like, well, things don't work out. Can we at least get this guy? Because it's funny. But Mason Molina is the name of the guy, 7th round pick. He's 22 years old from the 2024 MLB draft. Actually drafted by the Brewers out of the University of Arkansas. What can you tell us about Mason Molina, Thomas?
First of all, I'd recommend that people go follow Kareem on Twitter
Yeah.
X. He's a great follow for prospects. He's got a lot of information about these guys out there, especially those guys that, like, not Jesus Baez. We know enough about him, but the other guys that we haven't quite gotten to. His fastball, unlike the others, it's low 90s. It's got good movement to it. His best pitch is actually his changeup. It plays off well with his slider that he uses, and he throws a curveball some of the time. But he's primarily 3-pitch with fastball, changeup, slider. Good strikeout rates, despite not heavy stuff. He has a strikeout rate north of 30%. Good whiffs as well. He's solid left-handed pitcher, which is what we need apparently.
That was a key word right there. Left-handed, man.
Yep.
We could use a few of those right now. So, he ends up being, 26 on the top 30 prospects for MLB Pipeline. Scouting grades, fastball 50, curveball 40, slider 50. The changeup, as you mentioned, top pitch at 60, control 45. And again, a 40 rating, even though he's 50, 60. I don't understand.
Don't do math. Don't do math.
I don't get it. And that's like simple math too. Like that's within 1 in 100. So I'm like, I can figure out a better average than this, but that is what they have him at. So whatever. But yeah, another Molina coming to St. Louis, courtesy of John Mozeliak. And as far as we know, this one will show up and will actually come back and and appear. Maybe not in a Cardinals uniform for a while, but at least he will be in the organization. He's going to go. I think they sent him to Peoria, which is where all these A-ball guys ended up going first. And then the final guy, another cool name here, superhero type name, Skylar Hales, 23 years old, coming to the Cardinals, courtesy of the Texas Rangers. Any knowledge on what Skylar brings to the table for St. Louis?
Another hard-throwing fastball pitcher.
Yes.
Crazy. Yeah, we got a bunch of those now. What are we doing here? It can hit triple digits, sits around 95. Good slider as well. Those are his two primary pitches he'll use most of the time. He profiles mostly as a relief pitcher, though, so don't suspect him to get any starts in the near future. Solid depth piece.
Yeah, and something I've been harping on is everybody wants the starting pitchers and everything, but you're seeing more and more of how important the bullpens are to these teams. I mean, look what the Padres did at the trade deadline. Look what the Mets did. They got 3 dudes for their bullpen. And it's just, and I keep reiterating this to people. It's like, it's not like it used to be. I know 6 innings is a quality start, but I feel like they should scooch it down and be 5 now, because that's what people are doing. Yeah. It's 5 innings, and then you hand it off to the bullpen, and you just let these guys throw as hard as they can for 1 inning, and then you move on. And that's kind of just the way things are going. So as you pointed out, clearly, they were shooting for certain types of pitchers in these deals. It's hard throwing guys, swing and miss guys, which is something obviously the Cardinals have missed a lot of at the major league level. They just have not been able to get enough swing and miss. And you see the fallout from that, because when it's pitch to contact people, they make contact. Eventually they find holes. And when that happens, it's bad news, which is, I worry a little bit about Michael McGreevy. I know people were excited, like, Fetty, come out of here. I'm like, McGreevy's just like these guys.
He's cheaper, and he's younger. That's what matters.
He's a very similar style pitcher.
Yeah.
And what's great about him is that he's very good with the, his control, doesn't walk a lot of dudes. But it's very similar to what you already have in a Michaelis and an Eric Fetty. So the expectations that he was just going to come in and be amazing is like, I don't know. I don't know how good he is going to be, but I hold out hope that he'll be better than what we've seen from those other guys. But these are all the different prospects overall. Thomas, what kind of grade do you give Mo and the boys for what they gave up, which were rentals, in exchange for 6 prospects? Where do you put them?
Yeah, from that perspective alone, like, what did we give up? What did we get back? It's probably a C+. I mean, they targeted some specific areas. We don't need these relievers for the next 2 months, probably. From an overall trade deadline perspective, I would have loved to see 1 or 2, like a Jojo Romero and a bat go. That would have really put it on another level. But just what he gave up, what he gets back, 6 prospects for 3 pitchers. We don't know what those prospects would be, but there's at least some optimism there. I'll give him a C+.
All right. C+, I can go with that. And I think that's the real bummer about it is We won't know for a while.
Yeah.
That's the tough part about these types of deals is that if there's no instant gratification, they're not going to show up even for opening day next year. And you'll be like, oh my gosh, look, he rebuilt our bullpen with all these guys. It's just, that's not the way it's going to go, which is unfortunate because in this world, everybody wants what they want now. And if it doesn't come here right now, then it's failure. So a lot of people are going to look at this and say, not a great job, but it's part of the long game that the Cardinals are playing right now. And that's unfortunately where we are. And now we have to go play a team in San Diego who just went wild once again.
I love it.
AJ Preller, he's a nut, dude. He just doesn't care. He's doing whatever he can to get the ring this year, and he'll do it again next year, probably, if he has. The thing is, the Padres, the fact that they have this many great prospects year after year to move at the deadline to get guys. But I don't know. That was a crazy trade to trade their shortstop and get Mason Miller, a top 5 prospect for another closer.
Who cares? Go for it. The Athletic did a write-up on the winners, losers, and snoozers, and they had a whole paragraph about like AJ Preller is levitating above the stadium right now. The authorities are there, but they don't care because they know he'll come. I guess the dude's just crazy. I love it.
As part of it is like it's very entertaining, and you wish you had a little bit more of that.
Yeah,
but not a lot. Like at parts where you're like, okay, hold on a second, dude. Let's relax a little bit. But he's just firing away out there in San Diego. So now we get to play the Padres with all of those weapons. They now have 3 All-Stars, if you want to count Mason Miller as an All-Star, because he kind of is anyway, but he just wasn't.
Yeah.
So that's 4 guys in their bullpen. You were just able to split with them in 4 games. So we'll see what happens with Cardinals and Padres tonight out there on the West Coast this weekend. All right, Thomas, we're going to let you go, brother. I appreciate all your time. And anything new working up at redbirdrans.com with your name on it?
I've got that Jesus Baez write-up if you want a little bit more information on him. And then I just submitted one today about the players who weren't traded at the deadline but might be traded this offseason now.
There we go, because it doesn't stop. The future, it will involve more deals at some point. So get Thomas's thoughts at redbirdrans.com. Make sure you give him a follow on X at Thomas Gauvain. And thank you guys for being a part of Locked On Cardinals and making us first listen every day. If you haven't already, give us a follow on X at LO_Cardinals and at JD Sports Radio, TikTok and Instagram at Locked On Cardinals, and YouTube as well. We appreciate you being the best fans in baseball for a reason. We'll see you next time on Locked On Cardinals.